And in the same idea, the glass, picking up the glass on the road. If somebody cuts you off in traffic, first, from the ego's perspective, the first thing is you get mad.
Yep.
You want to get tied up, get defensive. Now, if that was your son, daughter, wife, grandmother, whatever, that would not come up. Because you would realize that, they probably made a mistake or they didn't see me. But instead of giving the person who cut you off that benefit of the doubt, the first rush is to that anger, to that horrible emotion. I have to, road rage, pull out my gun and shoot them. Which is kind of the ultimate consummation of that. But there's nothing lost in believing that that's your grandmother driving the car in front of you.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up. Krishnamurti used an expression. When I first read this, I said, that's interesting. Is this just a metaphor, or is it, does it mean something more than just an analogy? He says, you are the world, okay? And when I first read that, I said, what does he mean by that? I mean, is he just saying, you are connected to the world, like, we're all a part of an ecosystem, that kind of thing? And I think it's much deeper. When you realize what life is, what truth is, you said, reality, this whole flow, right, you and me right here, where is it that I stop and you begin? We are all one system that's working together. Now, I back myself off. I have my particular, like you're sitting in your car, you're driving down the road, and you say, I want to get to such and such. I want to get to the shopping mall so I can buy more goods, buy another car, whatever it is, so I can get into the keeping of that rat race. You got this idea in your head. I want to get there, and this guy is interfering with my plan, my goal. Okay. But when we realize that we're all a part of one flowing system together, there's no need for me to impose my will upon you and start beeping the horn and getting anger and shoot the person because he's interfering with me in the extreme cases you mentioned. But when I see that we're all connected together, we're all part of one whole flowing system, which is what it really is when you look at it objectively. And this is what science tells you. Where does the earth begin and the sun end, okay? It's... where does the earth begin? Does it stop, with the dirt, or does it stop with the atmosphere, or does it stop with the higher ionosphere or the magnetosphere, or does it stop with the gravitational field that the earth, which extends to the whole universe? What science is telling us is that every individual in the universe exists simultaneously in the little location, like I'm sitting in this body right here. That's where I'm centered right now. That's where I operate out. But I don't end right here in an absolute true sense of the word. I raise my finger, I've moved all the stars of the universe, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it's clearly, this is Newton. Just think through what Newton said. And what Krishnamurti is saying is not only can you get it to it conceptually, through a laws of gravity kind of thing, but you can actually have a direct intuitive insight that you are one with everything. Okay, and this is what the great mystics have said ever since the mystics have started talking about it. And I think it is, for example, Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself. It doesn't mean as if he is yourself, but love your neighbor because he is yourself. Okay, and it's not like an extended ego, like you are just an extension of me, therefore I can tell you what to do. But we are all part and parcel of one universal thing, and not only me, but you, the TV cameras, everybody in the audience, the whole earth and the whole universe is all one reality. That's the real reality, but we lose sight of that because we get so caught up in our little petty schemes, which are our thoughts. Again, back to our verbalization. What the most difficult word that seems to be to monopolize our mind is this word I, which is always holding us into this little framework. What this little biological unit wants, what this little biological unit is concerned with, that's all that's really important. But in fact, that person in the other car may have a desire to, he or she wants to get where she is going, where they're going, and therefore, if I am attuned to that, if I'm sensitive to it, I will care for that person's concern. I will nourish that individual. I will say, okay, you have a place where you want to go. Yeah, sure, go ahead. In front of me. I have my desire, and of course, it's always a play between what is this biological unit needing to accomplish and what's that biological. Sometimes there will be clashes, but if we're conscious of the fact that we're really one whole system, then I won't squelch you in order to get my needs satisfied. I do have needs, and Krishnamurti was quite, he ate, he drank, he talked, he had, he liked cars and things like that. But at the same time, he didn't let those personal needs, the biological needs, interfere with his sensitivity of what was going on in other people. And you could see that. I remember after a talk that he gave, it was a later talk, not the first talk, but maybe the fourth or fifth talk, I decided I wanted to go ask him something. I just went up to introduce myself to him. And I was working on a research project which was on the nature of time and space. And he had talked about time and space. I said, doggone it, I'm going to go up and ask him what is his idea of time and space. So he was walking across the floor from the place where he'd been sitting. And I just went up to him and said, Mr. Krishnamurti, could I speak with you? And he stopped there, and he grabbed my hand, and there was something, our eyes met, and it was just like this tremendous kindness exuded from him. I've rarely seen this in another human being, but this tremendous kindness and caringness, and I can only call it love, was flowing from him. He apparently didn't hear, he was on his way to go talk with somebody, but all of a sudden I realized my question wasn't really all that terribly important, and what he'd communicated to me silently without words was far, far richer in the exchange that we had than if he had given me some kind of explanation, because the words were not, those are only secondary things. And I was obviously I was trying to get my project worked on, I had my goal, and I was going to ask him, would you help me figure out these things? And it was, I suddenly became aware that was a trivial kind of thing. What was more important was the reality of the flow of what was taking place between us right in that encounter.
The presence.
The presence, right. Yeah.
Hold on, hang around. Part 3 is just a mouse click away.